What's up, everybody? This is at For All Out News here with my second ever video, and today I'm going to be discussing 5 suggestions as chosen by my Twitter followers as to what they would like to see in Fallout 4. I got a lot of suggestions, so I just took my favorite ones and put them in this video. So let's get right into it. Number 5 comes from both at Game Insomniac and at Birdman Josh Birdman. Game Insomniac said they should add the sprint function from Skyrim, and at Birdman Josh Birdman said they should add a melee button. So first off, a sprint button or whatever is desperately needed in Fallout and has been for quite some time. I mean, your character runs like he has fucking 5 tons of shit tied to his ankles at all times at max speed. So Bethesda finally added a sprint function in Skyrim tied to the stamina stat. So in theory, they could add a sprint function in Fallout and tie it in with the endurance stat for how long you could run and the agility stat for how fast you could run. And they could also maybe add some perks to do with running, such as you maybe run faster when you're near death or something like that. So overall, I think that sprinting is something that will likely be added in Fallout 4, and if it's not, Bethesda needs to get their heads checked like ASAP. And number 5 continued is a melee button, and what he means by a melee button is if you got your gun out, you got your Chinese assault rifle out, and a ghoul just comes out of nowhere and ambushes you. You can just press, a button, I guess one of the bumpers on the controller, and just knock him flat on his face with your gun, and then you can let loose on him. So I think that'd be a welcome addition to Fallout, as, I would love to be pistol whipping motherfuckers all damn day. I mean, I know that I would if they added that function. So, I think that's a great idea, and that's something they should definitely consider adding to Fallout 4. Moving on, number 4 also comes from at Game Insomniac, and he says that Fallout 4 should have a similar, more compelling personal tale, similar to that of Fallout 3, instead of that of New Vegas, which you were just basically a pawn in the battle for New Vegas and Hoover Dam. And the DLC, fuck, we're already talking about DLC already, the game hasn't been announced. But the DLC, when it comes out, should be similar to New Vegas' DLC, especially Old World Blues with its weird esoteric sci-fi stuff. Don't ask me what esoteric means, as I have no fucking clue, and I don't really care to look it up. But yeah, I totally agree. I think Fallout 4, Fallout 3. We haven't seen Fallout 4 story yet. Maybe it'll be good, but Fallout 3 definitely had the better story, as even as predictable and filled with plot holes as it was. It was still better in New Vegas. It's kind of just straightforward, revenge, get Benny, he shot you in the head tail, and also the DLC, I liked all the DLC from both games. That's kind of a lie, since I only played all the DLCs in Fallout 3 and Old World Blues. But if he's asking for more DLC like Old World Blues, I would think that would be a welcome add-on to Fallout 4. And since the writers will be most likely most of the same ones for Fallout 3, I'd say it's pretty safe. Okay, my clock's just going off in the background. Don't mind it. It's an annoying piece of shit, I know. But what was I saying? Yeah, Fallout 4 will have a similar story to Fallout 3 if it's not, a direct sequel with, Dr. Lee and maybe even Lone Wanderer making a cameo. I don't know. So I'd say that's pretty safe. So moving on to number 3, this comes from at Edwin of Ehrlich. He gave me this idea. He made it pop into my head. He said he wants the hardcore mode from New Vegas and Fallout 4, and that just made me think, oh well, they should just add every improvement that Obsidian made with Fallout New Vegas, and those improvements include hardcore mode, true iron sights, the companion wheel, factions, reputation, the ability to dress as a member of another faction, and gambling. Now, I don't have the time to go over each one of these in depth, but if you play New Vegas, you should know of these and what they bring to the table. I hope they build upon the hardcore mode and actually make it, more hardcore, as in, more stuff dealing with survival, different. Make it harder to get things to survive, like water, pure water, and stuff like that. They should also improve on the companion wheel and companions in general, make them a more pivotal part of the game. I also I also sunk a ton of time in the gambling in Fallout New Vegas, so I hope that gambling in some shape or form, I know it's not set in Vegas, it'll probably be set in Boston or somewhere different than a gambling town like Vegas, but I hope it's there in some shape or form, as it really adds another element of fun to the game. And overall, I'd be shocked if Fallout 4 didn't take the improvements made by Obsidian and build on them, but stranger things have happened. Moving on to number 2, a bigger game world, at also at courtesy of Game Insomniac. Now, now every Bethesda game has a massive world. And when I mean massive, I mean like getting from one end of the world to the other takes, probably an hour if you're just like walking. But I mean, Skyrim's map was approximately 14.3 square miles. Now, Fallout 3 and New Vegas' are about the same, clocking in about 16 square miles. Now, I'm not sure if both those stats are accurate, as that sounds kind of off, since I thought Skyrim's would be much bigger, but who knows, they may be correct or someone just exerted them out of their rectum, I do not know. But I'm sure it'll be a little bit bigger than all three of those games mentioned, since we are on a new gen of hardware here, and Bethesda always likes to outdo themselves. But I mean, I'd be content if it was just a similar size to Fallout 3 and Skyrim, as those games were already massive, and I just want as much content like stuffed into Fallout 4 as possible. But I mean, if Bethesda really did want to go big or go home, they could stretch out the game to include all of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for example, but that would probably be way too large. Okay, moving on. Number 1, the grand finale. This comes from at Josh Birdman, Birdman Josh, or whatever the fuck his name is. this is this is deeper and more defined karma. Like he says, like dialogue choices that have karmic repercussions. So my opinion, I think the karma system needs a complete overhaul. I mean, it really doesn't add anything to the game besides making companions, not want to join you, or, some special dialogue here and there. So a deeper system where it actually has a more overt effect to your playing would be really nice. I mean, like for example, every time, someone that I can't even read what the fuck I wrote here, but basically, if you steal something while no one is there to see you do it, I mean, it shouldn't have any effect on your interactions with other people. But I mean, it should have an effect, when you open up a crate and how many bottle caps are in there, or what weapons you find, or you're just walking somewhere, randomly get hit by a bullet, caught in the middle of a gunfight or something. I think, it definitely needs to be overhauled. And I think that Bethesda will either completely remove karma from the game, or they will overhaul it completely and make it, more worthy of,